Right, esteemed members, good evening and a warm welcome to today's webinar. If you can hear me, just send a message on the chat and let us know where you're joining us from. You can let us know the PSK branch. Thank you, Christabel from Nairobi branch, Peter from Nairobi, Dennis from Murang'a, thank you, Ken from Nyanza, Catherine from Kitui, thank you for the confirmation and just letting us know where you're joining us from. So, and just before we get started, I'd like to notify you that the event is not on the PPB portal yet. It's yet to be approved. So we'll let you know once the event has been listed. So for now, just kindly be patient. We'll let you know once the event is listed on the PPB portal. Right, I see we are now at 500 plus who've joined us. Thank you so much for keeping time and good evening. Welcome to today's webinar. So today's webinar is on an overview of taxation, eTIMS compliance, and validation of income and expenses on return filing. So I know this year people have been having lots of questions on different things with regards to eTIMS, taxation, and all that. And today we are glad to be having a team from KRA who will now be sharing some insights on that. So I'd like to encourage you to be attentive. Any questions that you have, kindly ensure that you ask so that they can be responded to. So today we are privileged to have Albert Kungu, who works in the micro and small taxpayers education department. Then we also have Carol Mbagara, who's in the eTIMS division. So before we move on, just a reminder that this event is not listed on the PPB portal yet. We are still waiting for their approval. So as soon as it's listed, we're going to share the full name of the event and the keyword that you can use so that you can find it easily. And just remember that for every event that we have, for example, like today, you'll only have 7 days to subscribe and claim the tokens. After that, if you've not subscribed to it, you'll not be able to subscribe to it again once the 7 days has passed. So ensure that you always spare some few minutes of your day. Just go through our portal, see what events are listed, and subscribe to them. And just a few ground rules before we get started. You're going to be muted during the entire course of this session. So if you have any questions with regards to this session, kindly use the Q&A tab and not the chat, because it's much easier for the presenters to also track the questions that are listed on the Q&A tab. Then at the end of the session, they're going to respond to the questions. And please note that this session is being recorded and it will be made available on the PSK YouTube page. So at this point, I'd like to welcome Albert, who's going to be our first presenter. And then later on, we'll have Carol presenting. So Albert, karibu.
Thank you, Daktari. I hope my screen is visible. You are able to see my slides.
Yes, we can see. Maybe you can just have it in full screen.
Okay, so it is in full screen. So I would like to first say a big thank you for the participants for joining, and we hope to have a fruitful engagement. I wish you share how long I have so that I may know how to manage my time. Okay, so I'll just continue. I'll just proceed. And today, tax knowledge, because we know an informed taxpayer is able to make informed decision in regard to their taxes. So we'll take you through just an overview of taxation, and we hope that with this information, you will be able to make the right tax decision in regard to your taxes. And our main aim of doing the presentation is to assist you as a taxpayer that you are able to report the right income, claim the right expenses, file your tax return in time, and pay the right taxes in time as they fall due. So I'll begin by quoting the legal basis of my presentation, and it is based on Section 3 of the Income Tax Act. It says that all income that have been derived or accrued in Kenya will be subject to a tax called income tax. So I believe all the participants have an income that has been accrued or derived in Kenya. And that is why today we are here to impart this important information in regard to tax to in as simple term as possible to enable you comply with your tax obligation. So allow me to go to the next slide. And this is what we'll go through. We'll just do an overview of taxation because we know that most members, either you are employed or you are in business. So we'll just focus on those two sources of incomes. Remember, we have several sources of income. We have rental income, we have interest income, and the rest. But for the sake of today's presentation, and so that we have a scope, we'll just dwell on those two types of income, but we will be open to answer any question in regard to any other specified sources of income. So we'll do an overview of taxation of business income, and also we'll just talk simplify and we'll just do a simple overview of taxation of employment income. Then we'll do emerging tax issues. We'll talk about validation, VAT on medicine and health product, and we'll be able now to tell you the issues or the areas that you're supposed to be on the lookout to avoid KRA coming to your business premises to do either tax compliance or an audit, and we call them audit triggers. Then we'll also explain to you what happens in case you have done everything that you can as a taxpayer, but you still find yourself you have a tax dispute. Then we'll end it with integrity, and then my colleague will talk on invoicing. So, whenever you are doing any activity, any income, in activity in Kenya, then normally we look at whether a business. So, not all income that somebody receives qualify to be a business income. So, whatever you are doing, whatever activity you are doing, then for it to be subject to taxation, that it has to fall within the definition that has been provided in the Income Tax Act, Section 2, as business. So in my first bulletin, I'm just trying to explain that a business manufacturing or concern the nature of trade, but does not include a business. So just look at you are within the definition of a business. The reason we are giving this definition, there are certain income that you will receive that will not be subject to taxation. And a good example, or the two examples that I have are when you are receiving a donation, and the second one will be grant from somebody giving you a grant. So those two types of income, they will not fall under the definition of a business. So for tax purposes, where a business is carried partially in Kenya and partially out of Kenya, then those are the types of businesses that will be subject to taxation. As a business person, you are allowed to register your business in three formal ways. The first one will be you are a single person doing what we normally refer to as sole proprietorship. And for this scenario, you will just be required to register using your ID, and you'll get a PIN which starts with an A. You'll be selling proprietorship, and the PIN that KRA will give, KRA PIN that are given, normally we refer to it for either sole proprietorship, or you decide you and a colleague or two or three of you come together, then you can form what we call a partnership or LLP. And alternatively, the third category of registration is you decide to incorporate a limited company. You go to Sharia House, you register a company, you have a certificate of registration, then you open a PIN. For also that scenario, you'll get a PIN which start with a P. So for the three types of business that I've notified, remember the first one, the PIN will start with an A. Then the first, second, and the third one, the pins will start with a P. So category PA or category one of the business, for this person, when they do business in Kenya, then their tax rate will be on a graduated scale. If they're resident and they're individual, then the tax rate will be from a minimum of 10% to a maximum of 35%. So it will be graduated in that scale. Then for the second category of partnership, normally a partnership does not have a tax liability, but the amount of profit that the partnership will get will be divided to the partners according to profit sharing ratio. So it will be the partners who will be required to account for taxes using their individual PIN. But for a company limited by liability, them they'll be subject to tax at a corporate rate of 30%. So when we talk about taxation, we have two regimes. We have taxes or tax obligations, which will be required on a monthly basis, and category will be an annual basis. So the monthly taxes that somebody will be expected to file is turnover tax, but for professionals, we'll not talk about turnover tax because professionals are exempted from. So for this today's presentation, I'll not talk only.
So I think our presenter has
Sorry,
an issue.
my internet went off, but I think I'm back. So
Okay, welcome, welcome.
yeah. Sorry for that. So, what I'm saying was, for your business entity, there are certain taxation which will be on a monthly basis. If you have employees, then you will be required to apply for pay-as-you-earn obligation, and you will be required to account for pay for your employees. Then the annual return. Remember, up there I've talked about two types of business: sole proprietor and the company limited by liability. So for those three categories, apart from this monthly return, in case you are registered for VAT or pay-as-you-earn, you will be required to file the annual return accordingly. So for sole proprietor, I've already talked about the rates. For the partnership and the company, once you have done the businesses, you will be required to look for an auditor, a reputable auditor, to do your books of accounts to enable you file the annual returns. I hope we are still good.
Yes, yes.
So yes, so this I've already explained for sole proprietorship. This one I've explained. Your taxes will be graduated, and you'll be filing using your personal PIN, which start with an A. And in case in your midst you employ certain employees who you pay a monthly salary or wages, then you'll be required to add a payee obligation, deduct taxes from them accordingly, and remit the same to KRA. On for pay, the deadline for filing is 9th of every month. So a sole proprietor can also be required to register for VAT. Remember, if you are providing pharmaceutical services only, those one are exempted and will not be required to register for VAT. But in case you have an outlet where you sell a mixture of the exempt, zero rated or value added, the one with VAT, then you will be required to register for VAT, so long as your turnover has reached the threshold of 5 million per year. So the individual return will be filed using iTax. Even the VAT return you'll file through the iTax. Then for partnership, already I explained, for partnership, they'll declare their income, claim their expenses that have been wholly or inclusively incurred for the businesses. And in case they make a profit, then the profit will be divided into profit sharing ratio for the partners. Now the partners to declare in their individual returns or using their individual pins. And when the partners declare, the amount of taxes will still be graduated. In case the partnership as employees, still they'll be required to register for pay-as-you-earn and deduct account for pay-as-you-earn from their employee. And now, when you're filing the annual return, this is a good example on how you are supposed to do your calculation. So you'll have sales revenue for the whole year, then you claim the expenses that have been only inclusively incurred for the subject to taxation. It will be graduated. For an year is more than 40,000, then they will be required to pay what we call installment tax, which is payable in 4 equal installment. Later in my presentation, I'll go through that. So this is basically you as a business person, what you are required to do. So you are supposed to, in case you have two types of income or several incomes, then you are supposed to separate the incomes in the annual return. Then you claim the expenses. But we have conditions for you to claim the expenses for the business. So the first category or the condition is the expenses that you are claiming must be wholly or inclusively incurred for the business. Then the second category is that the expenses that you are incurring must be supported by an eTIMS invoice. My colleague Carol will come and talk about the invoicing part of it. Then the third category is that the invoices that you are using to claim your business expenses must be transmitted to KRA. Then we have a certain category of expenses that you will be allowed to claim, but upon using the guidelines that the commissioner has provided. These expenses, a good example is if you are giving out a donation, uh, then you'll have to adhere to the commissioner's guidelines on giving out donation. The second expense will be if you have bad debts, you have provided some services or you have sold some goods and you are not paid, then you categorize them as bad debts and you are allowed to claim them, but in adherence to the commissioner's guideline. Then you are allowed, if you are doing a business and you make a loss, you are allowed to claim expenses. In the Finance Act 2025, you are only allowed to claim within 5 years, but there was a ruling that allows the expenses, the losses to be claimed, not the limit not to go backward, but to start from 2025 going forward. Then remember I said, if your tax liability for the current year or for a specific year, if you estimate that your tax liability, the annual tax liability will be more than 40,000 per year, then you are required to pay installment taxes spread over equally in a quarterly basis uh, of four installment tax, equal installment taxes payable in the days that I've specified in my presentation. Then the last one, which we call balance of tax, will be payable by the fourth month of the year or of the end of the accounting period. For example, we are starting the year 2025. If you estimate that your business, for your estimate for the year 2026, that your tax liability for this year will be more than 40,000 for this year, then you are supposed to plan and pay the first installment by April of this year, then the second installment by June of this year, the third one will be by September of this year, and the final one will be by 20th of this year. So that by the time we reach 30th of December of this year, you will have paid the balance of taxes that are due. So that by the time the year ends, you are done with your taxes of in the form of installment taxes. Then, if you are providing professional services, sometimes you'll find that what you have invoiced will be paid less 5%. So this amount, we normally refer it as withholding tax. So the person who has given you a job will, upon you invoicing them, they'll pay you less 5%, remit the same to the KRA, and what you'll receive in your email will be a withholding certificate to confirm that 5% of what were supposed to be paid was withheld and submitted to the tax authority. But for withholding tax, it only applies to incomes which are above 24,000. Any income below 24,000 will not be subject to taxation. So that is the rule for withholding tax. Then in case you have a luggage carrying vehicle, or what we refer to commercial vehicle, either luggage carrying or passenger carrying vehicle, then you'll be expected to pay advance tax for the motor vehicle. This only apply to business entities with either commercial vehicle, either luggage carrying or uh, passenger carrying vehicles. This amount of tax, when you pay it, you will use it to claim or to reduce your tax liability when you're doing the end of the year tax. Then I'm done with the business employment. I want to touch on employment income because I know your business may have employed certain people to work for you. And so long as you have employed these people under the Employment Act, then you'll be expected to adhere to certain rules. The first thing that you're supposed to do is to register for pay as you earn as an obligation. So you'll register your PIN so that apart from the income tax obligation, you'll add an additional obligation called pay obligation. And those people who are under you and are receiving a remuneration for the services they're rendering to your businesses, you will have an obligation, and that obligation will be to deduct taxes from them, remit the same to KRA, file the return, remit the same to KRA on or before 9th of every month. And remember, if you have an employee under you, there are certain statutory deduction or a must deduction that you must deduct from their pay and remit the same to the commissioner. So part of what we refer to statutory deduction will be NSSF, pay as you earn, SHIF or Social Health Insurance Fund, and the same will form part of what we refer to allowable deduction. As a business entity, you are allowed to provide meals to your employees, but the commissioner has provided a limit for the staff meals. This does not refer to you giving your employees cash. This refers to you giving them actual meals. Maybe you have within your premises, you have a kitchen where you prepare lunch for your employees and you give them meals. So the commissioner has specified or has given guidelines that in case you are a business entity providing lunch to your employees, then those lunches, the amount of those lunches per employee should not exceed 5,000 per month or 60,000 per year per employee. Then we have what we refer to fringe benefit tax. This refers to whereby you have employees, then you decide to give them a loan. If you are giving your employees a soft loan at a rate that is below the market rate, then your company or your entity will be expected to pay a tax called fringe benefit tax, which for a corporate tax will be at 30% of the fringe benefit that the employee will receive. How do we calculate fringe benefit? A good example, I just want to provide an example of fringe benefit tax. So for the fringe benefit is, for example, you have given your employee a loan of, for example, 1 million at 0% rate. So normally the commissioner will prescribe the market rate on a quarterly basis. Currently, the market rate is 8%. So what we'll do, it will take 1 million, then in bracket, the difference between the prescribed market rate plus the rate that you are provided for your employee. In case it is zero, it will be zero. So it will be 8% of the 1 million. Then that will be the benefit to the employee. Then your entity or your business will be expected to pay 30% of that benefit. And this amount is paid on a monthly basis with the pay return. Then we have gratuity, arrears, lump sum payment. This one I'll talk later on it. Then we have, in case you have your organization and your employees, you are providing them with a pension contribution or scheme. Also, we'll talk about that. Then the other thing is per diem, and this applies to whereby you have employees going outside their workstation on official duties. Then you are supposed, if you give them some night out allowances, then the commissioner has provided guidelines on the same. And what the commissioner is saying is that the first 10,000 will not be subjected to taxation. The first 10,000 that you give to your employees as night out allowances when they're outside their workstation will not be subject to taxation. So I'll talk about gratuity, and this is whereby you have employees. Remember, we have two types of employees. We have the first category. Those are permanent and pensionable employees. These are employees whereby they are permanent and you have registered them into a registered pension scheme. You are providing them with pension, then those people, upon retirement, they'll receive their pension. But there is a certain category of employees, or the second category of employees. These are category of employees. They have signed a contract for a specific period. Then you can decide that these employees have worked well for me. I want to appreciate them. So whatever you are giving them as gratuity, we normally refer to it as voluntary payment by an employer to the employee to appreciate them for the service rendered. So you can decide either you are paying them directly or you are taking the certain amount to a pension, to a registered pension scheme. So normally there will be pay calculation for the gratuity payment to your employee. And we have a basis of calculation of the gratuity. So normally we look at the last drawn salary. The last drawn salary, and we refer to the basic salary, we multiply by 15 over 30, multiply by the number of years the person has worked. But the Finance Act 2025 made some changes to how gratuity taxation of gratuity is being done. So what the changes imply is that any gratuity that are being paid for period of from 1st of July onwards will not be subject to taxation. I hope that one is clear. Then, as you are engaging your people to work for you, I think it will be important for you to differentiate who is an employee and who is an independent contractor. Because remember, most businesses, they normally make a mistake of referring to employee as an independent contractor. Then the KRA will come along and find that the people that you have been referring to as independent contractors are actually employee. So make sure that as you are engaging people to work for you, you are able to differentiate. A good example is an employee will enjoy the employment benefits or employee benefits. They'll enjoy leave, they'll enjoy sick leave, go to leave, they'll enjoy gratuity and the pension. But an independent contractor is somebody who they will just come work for you, with all depending with whatever you're paying them, and they go their way. Employees will normally be subject to allowable deduction and exemptions and relief. And in case in your payroll, you have certain employees who are person living with disability, then you are requested or you are required to provide them with the exemption that the commissioner has provided. The current exemption that the commissioner has provided is that any person living with disability is supposed to apply for income tax exemption certificate. And once they have a valid income tax exemption certificate, then the first 150,000 of their salary will be exempt from taxation, or the first 1.8 million of their taxation or of their income will not be subject to taxation. So basically, this is what we refer to as pay as you earn, and it says any employer that is paying a salary to employees is required. As an employer, you'll have that obligation to deduct taxes at appropriate rate, remit to the commissioner, do the monthly return, pay the taxes as they fall due, and then you'll have complied with your obligation as an employer. Then I've tried to explain these are the rates that are applicable to employment income. This one is annual rates. Remember, I said the minimum is 10% and the maximum is 35%, and this is on a monthly basis. Then now I want to talk about emerging tax issues, and one of them that is emerging is validation of income and expenses. I think in our previous presentation, we are taken through the validation of income and expenses. So I'll just touch on it. Then another emerging issue will be invoicing using eTIMS and eTIMS. That one also, I think we went through it. So I'll just briefly touch on it. Then we will be done with it. So what we mean by income tax and expenses validation, I'm doing this for the sake of those who did not join our previous presentation, because there was a whole presentation on this. But basically, what the KRA will be doing is when you are declaring your income for the year 2025, it is affecting 2025 year of filing. So when you are declaring that income, the system will verify or will do cross verification that whatever you are declaring as your business income or on the annual basis will be in tandem with what you have been able to invoice. So the system will look at your invoices that you have invoiced using your PIN, cross-check with what you have declared in your annual return and confirm. In case what you are declaring is below what has been transmitted via eTIMS or Teams, then the system will tell you, please declare the higher of. So it will expect you to declare the higher of. It will verify, it will confirm, to confirm that you are declaring the right income. So basically that is it, all about verification of the income that will be declaring for the year 2025. However, KRA listens to you. You are our taxpayer. We don't want to give you or to put before you something to hinder you from filing the 2025 return. So we'll give you all the support in case there is any challenge of you declaring that income. Please get back to us, give us feedback on the challenges that you are receiving, and we'll be able to incorporate the same. So the 2025 return, the validation of income will not be as strict as possible, but we are giving out this information, telling you that you as our esteemed taxpayer to start preparing so that for the year 2026, you do your uh, things in the proper way. And part of doing your things in the proper way is ensuring that you invoice all your sales using either Teams or eTIMS, depending with which device you have. My colleague from called Caroline will still come back and talk about it. So this verification will compare what you have declared, then it will check whatever has been withheld using your PIN. It will gross up the amount and confirm. So the verification will be on 3 levels. It will check what you have reported in your annual return, check what you have invoices, what has been transmitted with using eTIMS or Teams, then confirm with whatever has been withheld using your PIN, gross up the amount and confirm, and it will go for the higher of the three. If you are an importer, it will also check your import record from our custom system and go with the higher of. So this will affect 2025 return, but remember, KRA is not here to bully you with the filing. KRA is here to make the filing easier for you. In case you are receiving any challenges, please give us the feedback and we'll be able to incorporate the same. So, however, we also have what we call validation of expenses, and what you will claim for your business. Remember, we said those condition. Remember the conditions? We said the expense that you are claiming for your business must be wholly and inclusively incurred for the business that you are running. Then the second category is that you must be supported by an eTIMS or Teams invoice. Then the third category or condition is that the purchase or the expenses that you plan to claim have been transmitted to KRA. So what we are saying that is that apart from this validation of expenses, we know or we are alive to the reality on the ground that not all expenses that a business will incur will be able to have an invoice using Teams or eTeams. So KRA has provided exemption and they're listed here. For example, what you pay as salary and wages to an employee, you can't get an invoice. Imports, and this basically touches on imported services. That one also will be exempted. And also we have what we call investment allowance, and this touches on where you have assets that enjoy either wear and tear and the rest. And also the other thing is, if you are traveling for your air ticket, you will not receive any eTIMS ticket. So we have explained or they have been, I've outlined in my presentation the items that you are allowed to claim, and the system will not validate or it will not cross-check with the eTIMS invoices. So having said about validation of incomes and validation of expenses, what is the way forward for you, our business people? Remember, we are here support you for you to comply with your tax compliance journey. And now we are giving you way forward. So what we are saying is that for your business, you are encouraged to give out your KRA PIN whenever you are going to buy anything for the business that you hope to claim at the end of the year or on a monthly basis. In case you are registered for VAT, please give out your PIN and insist. Remember, it is your duty to insist that you will be given a proper tax invoice. Then the other part is you are supposed to vet. In case you are doing bulk purchase, you are going to do bulk purchase, then ensure that you vet your supplier to confirm that the person you are dealing with is compliant with KRA. My colleague from eTIMS will take us through on how we vet, but in a nutshell or in a simple way, in case you are planning to do a bulk purchase, which you hope to claim for your business, then just do a due diligence. You can buy a small item, get the PIN of your supplier, go to KRA PIN and a PIN checker, put that PIN and check the PIN. Down there will be a provision for or the system to tell you whether that person is compliant or non-compliant. Because the reason we are saying that is if you buy from a supplier who is not compliant with the KRA and you are registered for VAT, then you will not be able to claim that expense. I will repeat, in case you are a business person wishing to buy bulk items that you wish to sell for your business, please do your due diligence, vet the supplier to confirm that they are compliant with KRA. So these are areas that remember we are here to provide you with the information so that report the right income, you claim the right expenses, you file your return in time, and you pay your taxes in time. So these are the issues that you are supposed to avoid as a business person, because these are the areas that my colleagues from compliance and audit will focus on. And basically, you should try as much as possible to avoid any variances in your declaration. So in case you have a business with a till number or a pay bill number or a point of sale point, then ensure that you reconcile the cash you receive, the money that come through the till number or point of sales, and so that at the end of it, when you are declaring the income, there is no variance. Then when you are filing your returns, remember that the original return, before you click on send, cross-check or redo it to ensure that the original return is properly filed. If in case you are engaging a third party to do for you your return, then ensure that you are engaging a competent person who will do a proper original return. The reason I'm saying this is if you amend your return, frequent amendment of return will flag you out for a compliance check. You'll see KRA coming, knocking, wanting to verify your tax return. So also file your return in time, and remember also not to forget about filing. Other tax issues that will arise is just ensure, I know you are our taxpayers, you are dealing with pharmaceutical products, and sometimes the goods will expire or they'll be damaged. So just have a record of what is expired and damaged, because at the end of it, you want to claim them as a business expense. Then still I'm on the way forward for pharmacists in the business. And the first thing that we want to say is proper documentation for KRA or for taxation purposes. Proper documentation is key. So you are expected as a business person to maintain your records or your tax record or your business records for a period of 5 years. And the other thing is ensure you track your stock movement. Because we know as a pharmaceutical, you normally have an outlet. Apart from providing pharmaceutical services, you also you sell goods. So keep your records well. Then also remember to keep your invoices and keep your bank statements and the expenses receipt. And why do we keep your books records? Why do we insist on accurate keeping of your records? Remember, we keep them properly in case of future tax dispute. Remember, the law has been changed so that whenever there is a tax dispute between yourself and KRA, then the burden of proof will fall on you as a taxpayer to prove that the tax dispute is wrong. So that is why we are insisting, ensure you keep your records, have a backup. Instead, in case you have manual records, ensure you back them up by maybe scanning them and keeping them properly. Then, because we know as a pharmaceutical, you have a mixture of exempt, zero rated, and value added products in your stock. So ensure you have proper classification of whatever you have in your stock. Then the other thing, and this applies to the sole proprietor, the business person who is using their individual PIN to do their business, what we are saying is ensure if you are a sole proprietor, have two separate accounts. one for business and the other for your personal, so that you are able to separate and differentiate what is for business and what is not for business. And lastly, this presentation basically has the only four or five, four objectives. And the four objective is, as a business person with the proper tax knowledge, you're able to record or report the right income, the right business income, pay your taxes in time, and keep your records. And with those in mind, having done your obligation as a taxpayer, you will not have any issue with KRA. So at this moment, I'm almost finishing, but before I finish, I want to give you what we do in form of integrity and accountability. And before I talk about integrity, I want to talk about accountability. So what we are saying as KRA is all our tax decisions, or whatever we decide in regard to you, our taxpayer, has been aligned in respect to the Constitution of Kenya, and specifically Article 47 of the Constitution, which talks about fairness, a procedure which is fair, timely. So before any tax decision is made in regard to your business, remember, in KRA, there's that accountability part of it. And what we are saying is, your compliance is our priority because of you, our taxpayer. That is why we do what we are doing this that is why we have KRA, because for KRA to exist, there has to be a taxpayer. So you being our taxpayer, remember, we all do with high respect, and that's why we are willing, or we normally give free training. We are able also to assist you with your filing. We'll be able to give you the tax information that we need. And in case after this training, there's something which you still feel has not been addressed, we have provided our email address and telephone number. And the assurance that we are giving you is that in all our endeavor, or in all our assignment as tax collectors or tax officers, we'll handle you with integrity first. And also, we know that you are a Kenyan, we'll respect you, all our decision. And the third one, which I already talked about, is fairness in every tax decision. And also, what we are saying is, there is humanity in every interaction that we have with you. Why have I talked about this? The reason I've talked about this is, you can find yourself as a taxpayer, you have reported your income, but when KRA comes for a verification, they find you with a mistake here or a mistake there. Then out of that engagement with the KRA, you find yourself, you have an additional assessment to your PIN. So if you have an additional assessment to your PIN, what are you supposed to do? That I've talked about, you will be notified that there are variances that requires you to reconcile. You will be given time to provide the records. That is why we are talking about keeping of accurate records, because if you find yourself, you have an additional assessment, the burden of proof will be on your side. But in case, as a business person, you receive that additional assessment, what you are saying is, don't panic. And then I'll repeat again, in case you find yourself in the wrong side of tax law, don't panic. Remember, you only need to look at the figures that are in the additional assessment. And in case you don't agree with the figures in the additional assessment, then you are expected within 30 days to object to the assessment. And what will happen is, the first person who handled you and they gave you the assessment will not be the second person. KRA will give the task, excuse me, to a second pair of KRA official, new ones, who will look at the records and confirm or change the assessment. So they'll give you a decision based on them reviewing the records afresh. And in case you are still not happy with that decision, you are allowed to go up to Tax Appeals Tribunal, High Court, and even up to the Supreme Court. So what we are saying, or the assurance we are giving you, our taxpayer, whenever you find yourself in a tax dispute with the KRA, don't panic. There are what we call alternative dispute mechanism that are available to you. Because remember, KRA values you. The KRA respect your business. KRA knows that your business is what lays the eggs. And we know that for your business to prosper, that is where we get taxes from. Though also, we know that you can be a diligent Kenyan or a business person, a patriotic Kenyan, reporting your income, proper income, uh, doing your returns in time, paying your fair share taxes, but you come across maybe a fellow business person or a KRA officer who is engaged in corruption. So what KRA has done is it has provided a mechanism for you to report those issues of corruption. So we have anti-corruption whistleblowing policy that is available for you. You are allowed to talk to KRA, report whatever you're seeing, either by staff or by a fellow taxpayer, and whatever information that you'll have given to KRA will be used to collect some taxes. And in case taxes are collected, then 5% of the taxes collected will be given to you as a reward, but up to a maximum of 5 million. So in my presentation, I've provided ways in which you are allowed to report issues to do with corruption. So as I am finishing, the commitment that we are giving you as KRA is that this is a KRA that serves and does not scare. So thank you. At this moment, I want to invite Caroline to briefly talk about eTIMS. Then we'll open the session to questions and answers. Caroline, welcome.
Thank you so much, Albert. And thank you, our taxpayers, for being here today. Actually, we are overwhelmed by the participation. So we are happy that you're looking forward into understanding everything related KRA and anything new that we have so that you're able to comply on the right way. So we appreciate you. We really appreciate you for this. And we'll want to always give you the much insights that we have. So maybe I can reintroduce myself. My name is Caroline Bagara from eTIMS Operations Office. Our office is at JQuat Towers, 7th and 8th floor. JQuat is the old ICA building. So that's where the eTIMS Operations Office, we can call it the head office of eTIMS is. But eTIMS is countrywide. Wherever you are, whether I've seen people from Nakuru, from various towns, yes, eTIMS, you can be sorted any issue on eTIMS wherever you are. Get into any TSO office, you're able to be supported. So maybe practically what I can do, I understand there have been other sessions before on the same. And what I can say is for the sake especially of the people who have not been here in one because of any reason or the other. My colleague has been talking about taxation and what as long as you're in business, the things you are required to do, all the tax brackets that we have. On my end, we'll talk about invoicing. So when you talk of invoicing, we even try to make it very simple, just to say invoicing is all about a receipt. And in Kiswahili, better we call it risiti for anyone in Kenya is able to understand what the risiti is. So when we talk about risiti, KRA brought in an electronic system to generate invoices using now an eTIMS solutions. And generally, eTIMS, it's just an electronic tax invoicing management system. It's a system to help you invoice. And why do we talk about eTIMS each and every day? This is because at the end of the day, my colleague has been talking about validation of expenses, income, and one of the key things is that eTIMS being the platform that is used. eTIMS being the platform that is used to now and has been approved by the authority to support you in doing this invoicing. It is the only one that is meant to transmit invoices directly to KRA. And the moment we do that, we are able to see all your expenses. We are able to get all the expenses that you are having, and will not be having that back and forth, just understanding the expenses that you have as a business. So as per the law, you are required, as long as you're in business, and all the business we are talking about what my colleague was talking about, sole proprietor, partnership, company, all of them. They are indeed everyone, as long as you're in business. And when you talk of even sole proprietor, we are talking of mama mboga, we are talking of our boda boda riders, we are talking of as long as you are doing business to create an income, you're supposed to provide an eTIMS receipt. And for all the reasons my colleague have been saying, that all these expenses will be validated at the end of the day. So that is the reason. And if we can just ask, what are the repercussions if now you don't provide this eTIMS? Sorry, I've missed out TIMS, and I don't want you to feel like TIMS is not part of this. Yes, we have TIMS and eTIMS. TIMS be the gadget base that was initially introduced by KRA. It's still, yes, very valid for KRA to use. So as long as you're using the TIMS, you're okay, you're compliant, that is fine. And now it's only that now we are not onboarding new TIMS devices because now we have the proper support of eTIMS being electronic. And remember, TIMS being a gadget, it requires a cost. It has a cost implication. Where else eTIMS is free, and it can be either download, it can be a web from web browse, it could be from various. I'll mention them, but all those are compliant ways of raising invoices. So what I was talking about is the reason why are we having eTIMS? Why do we insist you give receipts or receive receipts? At the end of the day, as our taxpayers, if these expenses are not realized on our end, at the end of the day, now your tax implication will go high, because expenses help you to reduce you're able to reduce the expenses the moment the moment they pass through our system. So at the end of the day, you will not be biased in taxing you on a higher, because you'll be able to declare all those expenses, and you are able to have the actual amount for the right tax due. So it's very important to, every time you're doing business, you request for a receipt in every expenses that you have. And also for you, when you're doing yourself, also provide receipts so that the other person also can claim the same expenses. So, for the sake of the ones maybe who are are new in the business, one of the important things we can say is we have various solutions. And I had mentioned we have the TIMS. Some people call it ETR, which is also real time. It sends receipts directly to KRA. Most of them, like our supermarkets have them. Most of us here, I believe, we have them. And now, other than that, we have now the solutions that are available. That is eTIMS. We have one called eClient. This is actually an application that is downloadable on your computer, maybe a PDA. You can download it on your phone, and you're able to invoice the same. My colleague was talking about the importance of stock management for your type of business, because you deal with pharmaceutical products. So this is one of the best solutions that you can have, because it has a stock management system. When we were bringing these various solutions, we were looking into how our taxpayers out there can have solutions without having a cost implication. So at the end of the day, this type of a solution is able to give you a stock management system, and you're able to keep your stock, you're able to record your stocks, stock in, adjust stock, and you're able to even if maybe they are spoiled, you're able to do all this on eTIMS client. So this one, the only thing is that the moment you are on eTIMS client, you can only use the same device, because it has the application on that gadget alone. So also we have online solution, eTIMS Online. This is actually just a web-based solution that is on our platform. You can get it at www.etims.kra.go.ke, and you are able to invoice from wherever you are. So you can just Google on any browser of your choice, and you're able to invoice, log out, and you are done. And now we have simplified solutions. Simplified solutions. These we came with the partnership with eCitizen, and the best about it is that you're able to invoice from your eCitizen platform, the normal eCitizen platform that we have for all our other government services. So you're able to do so, and also we catered for even our mama mbogas out there, even our borders out there. We catered for them, because we also took in charge and brought in the USSD. So our Kabambe, our Katululu people, we can still invoice. So like what we are saying, if you, my colleagues were saying, always ensure that you have received an invoice and you have given an invoice. So if you're transacting with these people, for example, if you maybe you have given a delivery to go somewhere and you need to pay a boda, so this boda can just get to their phones and go to *222# and be able to give you a compliant invoice. So you're not going to miss out on this. So we've made sure that in every sector we are able to capture this, and you are able to get these services from wherever you are. So if maybe it's deliveries you want to give out, you see, you are able to get an invoice for this. So sometimes when you get these such expenses, it's good maybe to tell your boda, you can just give me an invoice using maybe a USSD, or maybe their eCitizen platform. So we also have eTIMS Lite. It's also an app, just like any other app. You get it on Play Store, and you're able to invoice from there, or any other person is able to invoice from there. And also we have we other than that, we have one of our solution that we are actually working on WhatsApp invoicing, where this one is able to chat with a bot on WhatsApp and able to give a compliant invoice. So we've tried to actually get into deeper, uh, looking at every taxpayer and how they are able to issue the other person with an invoice. So when you're out there, ensure that you are, when you're doing business, ensure that every expense is captured and it's doable, because our solutions are available for every service provider. Like we said, everyone is business. Yeah, that boda is in business. So they should also give you that invoice so that you're able to claim that expense. So like my colleague also mentioned, yes, everything has to be supported by eTIMS or Teams. Let's just say eTIMS or Teams. Yeah. And one of the key things, always remember to give out your KRA PIN. We are having so many taxpayers not able, who did not give out their KRA pins. And what happens when you're doing your return? Yes, you did that expense, you incurred that expense. However, it cannot be mapped as your expense because it's missing your pin. So the pin is like your marker to mark you as the person who incurred this expense. So ensure you give out your pin. Also give it correctly, because some also give out pins that are not fully or not well captured. Always ensure that your pin is well captured when you're doing this, so that this expense, whether it's 50 shillings, whatever expense that is there, you are able to claim. So when, for example, something else we can talk about is about the invoices. The moment you get the invoice, we always advise taxpayers, the moment you receive an invoice, or even when you give an invoice, always ensure that you have confirmed it has transmitted to KRA. So we are having so many challenges of transmission because some of the, like the solution I mentioned called eClient, it can work offline. And the moment it works offline, an invoice can be generated. And I believe most of us are using that solution because it has a stock management module. An invoice will be generated, but because you are offline, since it needs internet for transmission, it will not transmit. So sometimes you'll be having an invoice that has not transmitted, and it is very important to check. So one of the things, how the best way to check that is to scan your QR code. You can use the QR code scanner, you can use the Google scanner, whichever way. It scans and it's able to show the details of the invoice, and you are able to know that it has transmitted. The second way on that interface, the first page you see, we have the checkers. We have the pin checker, we have invoice checker. You're able to check everything to confirm if it is, we even call it legit. Yes. So at that point, you can go to the invoice number checker and just key in the number of the invoice details from, it's a long invoice number. It usually have a number of digits. From KRA, you key in each and every digit until the last one and confirm. You are able to know if that invoice has transmitted. So those are the two ways to check using a QR code. You can scan the QR code and also the invoice checker on iTax. The other thing also is to ensure that uh, I think my colleague had mentioned, had requested me to clarify this. Before you do your business with someone, yes, you could have been doing business with so many people in the past, but there could be a challenge or two. Maybe they are not compliant with KRA, and we have put them on special table. So sometimes when they're put on special table, there are some compliance issues they could have been facing, so they are not allowed to transact. So behind the scene, you might not be knowing that they are not compliant. So the most and the best way to do that is go back again to the iTax checker, input their PIN details, and before you do business with them, check. You'll see it confirming either that person is compliant, is VAT compliant or not. So if it says compliant, you'll know that that person has been put maybe on special table if you are working with them before. Also, you can also confirm if they have eTIMS or TIMS. At that point, again, you are able to confirm there is an eTIMS, they have an eTIMS solution or not. So before now you do business, it's important also to check that and confirm the people you are working with. So basically, that's much I can push in terms of understanding what all about eTIMS and the receipt we are talking about. But maybe I can also add in our developments that we have. And I understand, we have, like we said, we are looking into ensuring that you are able to get an eTIMS invoice every sector you are working with. So one of the things that we are actually our current baby is the fuel sector. So if you're doing business, also my colleague explained, you have to confirm it's wholly and exclusive of in that business. So if you're doing business and maybe you're fueling your car for the same, maybe the the transport car for maybe the pharmaceutical brands and the likes. Maybe they are going from one place to another. So ensure that you've captured that, because now all our fuel stations have been complied to invoice an eTIMS to have an eTIMS system of eTIMS fuel system that will give you a compliant eTIMS receipt. They will not be issuing you an invoice from their team's gadgets, because they have a solution for that, for eTIMS solution. So when you go there and you want to fuel, you are supposed to give out your PIN, and they are supposed to give you a compliant invoice so that you are able to claim this expense. Remember, bottom line is to always give your PIN. Another thing also is that they are able to capture all this, because the moment the fuels, maybe the fuel attendant uh, finishes to draw the fuel in the car, the moment they place back the nozzle, that transaction is captured. So it's good always to remind them to capture the PIN, so that that is captured and you're able to claim the expense. So fuel sector, you'll see a lot happening. Actually, tomorrow we have something. We are working with the fuel sector to push on sensitizations. You'll see a lot of things coming out from tomorrow to ensure that everyone is able to understand what is we are doing on the fuel sector. But these are some of the challenges people are having to claim fuel expenses. However, maybe I can give a disclaimer. There are some things that will not be used in the fuel sector from the fuel stations. For example, if maybe it's the lubricant. The lubricant for the car and the likes, those ones who can get a receipt using their teams, they'll be allowed to do teams and eTIMS at the same time. But eTIMS is purely for the fuel. But when it comes to other oils and the likes, the lubricant, even, for example, if even you are eating in one of their, they have the petrol stations, hotels there, where maybe you are eating as employees, and it's supposed to be captured at expense, that one they will capture from their team's device. So another thing also I would want to talk about is the TCC, Tax Compliance Certificate. So when it comes to the TCC, right now, if you're not on eTIMS or TIMS, you'll not be able to get your TCC, your tax compliance certificate. So the moment you are trying to apply for a TCC, you'll not be able to proceed. So one of the things you need to do is comply first, get your eTIMS solution, because now you're in business, and the moment you do so, the moment you comply with eTIMS, now within 24 hours, you'll be able to get your TCC. So always know, sometimes you will be wondering why you're not able to get your TCC, but as long as you don't have eTIMS, you'll not be able, and you're in business, you'll not be able to get the tax compliance certificate. Another thing I will talk about also is reverse invoicing and buyer initiated. We wouldn't want to dwell much in this, but we understand that our taxpayers, or you out there, you are dealing with various type of partners, and some of them are they could be having good products, but maybe they are not tech savvy. So we have a solution that is called buyer initiated, where the buyer initiates the sale. And maybe how I can just put it is that when you go maybe to a supermarket, sometimes you are prompted to make that purchase. You get a prompt. to make that purchase. So that's basically how it works. So when, for example, you are selling you're having your brand, and someone is selling something to you, and they're not able to issue you with an invoice. Now you can, as the buyer, if there's brands that you want to ask to request, you as the buyer can have that buyer initiated option. That person will get prompted, and they're able to confirm they're selling ABC D to you. The only thing is that buyer initiated only works on eCitizen. It's a platform on eCitizen platform, and that's where you are able to generate such an invoice. I wouldn't want to dwell much on reverse invoicing. It's equally the same, but it may not apply for you. This one we look for. It's a different sector, our farmers and the likes, because they're full of, there are so many transactions, and it has to come with a system in place. So when you hear these terminologies, you are able to have them in place, and you're able to differentiate. And at the end of the day, you are able to have to be compliant and get compliant invoices. So talking of that, I think the match also I can put a talk about is now the solution I had mentioned. I think being displayed there, you're able to see the USSD, the eCitizen, the WhatsApp invoices, all this. The beauty is now, as on all the solutions that we have, the ones I've talked about, the eTIMS, eClient, online solution, eCitizen, all of them are the ones that also displayed on the screen. We are initially you are only supposed to onboard on one solution and invoice from that solution. However, now you can onboard on all the solutions and be able to invoice from the various solutions that you have. It's only that some may not favor you as the type of business that you have, but sometimes they could be anything, could be a system downtime, and you're able to invoice on the other one. So we have ensured that you might not be stuck. Even it could be anything. You see, like eClient, sometimes a gadget could be stolen. If it's a computer you're using, a phone can be lost. So you can invoice on another platform interchangeably. So all the solutions now, you can invoice from all the solutions. And maybe as I close on the solutions also, I can talk of the integration. Most I understand this industry also, we have system in place. If all the solutions do not work for you, we have third party integrators whom we have already listed on KRA website, and they can you can reach them out so that they can support you. They can integrate your system and our system, and you are now supposed to invoice the way normally you invoice with their normal system, and it will generally at the end of the day transmit the invoices directly to KRA. So with all that said and done, remember the whole idea is having all these invoices transmitted to us, a visibility. We want to have visibility of your expenses. We want to ensure that all the expenses that you have been captured, and now they can be able to be reduced from your final tax that you my colleague actually was talking about. So generally, I think I can stop from there. To maybe we can take in questions, and maybe one more thing also I can mention is I talked about the integration system. That is the only system that you'll find maybe you'll be charged, you'll have a cost implication. However, all the solutions that we have from eTIMS are all free. And my colleague has mentioned, if you get any our people charging you out there, you can whistle blow and always send that message, because you're supposed to get these services for free. Supposed to be supported for free. And how where we have reached so far with eTIMS, You do not even need to come to our offices. The system is automated in a way that if you want to get eTIMS, you just log in, sign up, log in, and you get an approval automatically. So from there, you're able to invoice. And we have guides to guide you on the same. We have various videos on our website on how to invoice. We have our platforms, KRA YouTube platform, where we help you invoice, support you. We have videos to support you invoice from start to the end, help you to sign in, help you to onboard on eTIMS, even help you to all these things we are talking about. So we have videos on the same. We have user guides on our website. You are able to get that and download them, and you can be using them. So the system should be as easy as that, and we are trying to make sure it's even simpler, and we are making it simpler than even prior. Also, just to mention, when it comes to the costing of the integrator, it's not KRA that is charging you integration. And this is the only solution we've said that will have a cost implication. And why is it being charged? It's because there's a third person, there's an intermediary between KRA and you. And that person is the one who is providing a solution to integrate the system with yours. So that is the person who will charge you. But yes, we have vetted them. We have confirmed they are the ones we are working with, and they're on our website. If you want any support from them, you can reach them out. We have put all their contacts, all their details, even the contact persons you're supposed to get, and the solutions they are offering, and then they are able to support you. So basically, that's it. And remember, our offices are open. Please feel free if you are challenged wherever you are, get to our offices. And I had mentioned our office, our head office is at JQuad Towers. We can support you even on one-on-one basis. So also, you can always send your queries on team support. I think it's on you can able to see that our email, teamsupport@kra.go.ke. Yes, our emails are responded to, and we have a dedicated team responding to those emails. So when you are stuck, it could be invoicing and then you get an error. You could be somewhere you're just about to get a final invoice and you get an error. Just screenshot and share it on our email, and then we are going to support you. Always put your contact so that we can call you back and support you. So with that, let me close from there so that we can get our Q&A session. Thank you very much. Maybe we can get to that so that we can answer your eTIMS and generally all the issues that we have from KRA. Thank you.
And Albert for that insightful presentation. So I see we have a couple of questions, and I think maybe Albert, we can start with there was that part you are presenting on the company tax, and I think a couple of the members had missed on that. So maybe you can just quickly recap on that, the company tax returns, and then we can go to the next questions.
So what we said, for if you have a company, but first of all, I talked about 3 categories of businesses: the sole proprietor, partnership, and the company return. So if you're a sole proprietor, you'll just use your PIN, declare the income, claim the expenses that have been wholly and exclusively incurred for the business. Then whatever remains will be graduated. If you're a individual resident, it will be graduated from a minimum of 10% to a maximum of 30%. If you are a partnership, also the partnership will declare the income for the year, claim the expenses. In case they make a profit, the profit will be shared to the individual partners who will be expected to declare their income, and the taxes will be graduated. In case the partnership makes a loss, then the loss also will be shared among the partners in the profit sharing ratio that they have indicated. So remember, the partnership does not pay taxes. The partners will pay the taxes. If there is a profit, the partners will pay taxes. If there is a loss, the partners will share the loss. Remember, the importance of sharing the loss is that come next year, in case the partnership makes a profit and the partners now have been given a profit according to the profit sharing ratio, then they'll be able to offset previous year's loss against current year profit. Then for a limited company, here you'll be expected also to declare your income, claim the expenses that have been wholly and inclusively incurred for the business. However, I want us to remember that for the year 2025, there will be verification of both the income and the expenses. I hope I've been as clear as possible. So somebody is asking if you derived an income outside Kenya. If it is a business income, then Kenya does not have business charging you. But if it is employment income, then there is what we normally call worldwide income. So what will depend in you are in which part of outside Kenya. Remember, the government of Kenya has an agreement with certain countries so that there is no double taxation on your worldwide income when it relates to employment income. Then somebody is asking where can they access the commissioner's guideline? The commissioner's guidelines are available. And remember, I only talked about two guidelines. There are several guidelines, but for your sake, for the sake of claiming an expense, you will only be interested on two guidelines, bad debt guidelines and donation guidelines. They are readily available. Even if you click online search commissioner guidelines on bad debt, it will take you to Kenya Laws Report and you'll be able to get them. If you just search commissioner guidelines on bad debt, you'll be able to retrieve the same. Then somebody is asking about business expenses needing eTIMS, for example, rent, and your landlord refuses to give you. So these forums, the education forums, we are providing them to all the sectors. Today we are doing it to the pharmaceuticals. Tomorrow we'll be doing it for the landlord. So this is a journey. Just don't worry about it. This is a journey. And with time, everybody will get the message that eTIMS is everything. But remember, we said that we are here to support you. You don't want to put any handles that will hinder you from filing the annual return. So in case you have paid rent and your landlord does not provide you with an eTIMS invoice for 2025, we will support you to file your return. But going forward, by the time 2025 will be over, we will have build capacity of the landlords so they will be aware that they need to give the returns. But for 2025, KRA is here to support you, to assist you to file. You'll be allowed to claim that expense so long as you are able to support with an expense. The same will apply to any other place where you buy and they are not giving you. But going forward, remember, before you buy, the first question you are supposed to ask is, will you give me a proper tax invoice? If the answer is no, then you have no business buying from that person. But we understand for landlord, you cannot say you have no business because they are landlord, they can kick you out. So for 2025, you will be supported. But going forward, please insist. Then that somebody is asking, what if the total tax is more than 40,000, but I expect to get it in the last quarter? Yes, you will still be able to pay it, but you will be charged a penalty and some interest. The 40,000 will be divided by 4 and will be expected to pay some penalty accordingly. Uh, then there's another question. What is really the allowed withholding tax on locum? If one is employed on permanent and pensionable terms, is it 5% or 30%? Remember, I talked about differentiating between an employee and an independent contractor. So the scenario normally we have in the hospital is that locum doctors are normally employees, they are not independent contracted, because remember, their working time will be controlled by the hospital. They'll be expected to report at a certain time and leave at a certain time. They'll also be expected to use the hospital facility, because an independent contractor, their timeline is not controlled. They'll be expected to come with their tools of trade. But we know for doctors, it is not possible for you to carry your tool of trade to go and work. So long as you are using the hospital's tools, so long as your time is controlled, so long as they decide or they control how you do your business, then you are basically an employee, which is subject to pay as you earn, not withholding tax. So that's the difference. Then for a sole proprietor, that is not TOT. How will the annual filing be conducted? For today's scenario, remember we said for professionals. For this forum, everybody are professional, so we have no business talking about TOT. So for you who is a pharmaceutical, you are a professional, you are not allowed to be in TOT. So we are not supposed to be talking about TOT filing. You are supposed to file your return on an annual basis. However, in case you are you have a business somewhere not related to pharmaceutical, different, where you are selling goods, then TOT normally the calculation is will be 1.5% of your gross sales for the month, and you will not be allowed to claim the expenses, and you are supposed to file by 20th of the following month. But for the pharmaceutical part of it, where you're providing the services yourself, you'll not be allowed to be in TOT. If your business is a partnership and you make losses, that one I think I've already answered. I said if a partnership makes a loss, the loss will be distributed to the partners according to their profit sharing ratio. So that loss, they'll be able to offset it against future profits. What should you do if your turnover rate is less than 5 million? Must you still pay taxes? 5 million is to do with value added tax. With taxes, so long as, remember in Kenya, if you are an individual and you are a resident, then the threshold for paying taxes for an individual, the threshold for paying taxes, whether you are employed, whether you are a landlord, whether you are a professional, the threshold is above 24,000 per month or 288,000 per year. Anything less than that, the tax calculation will be zero. But if you are a corporation or a partnership, then 5 million is in regard to VAT registration. The person is asking how will KPLC cost, fuel cost for the company, marketing costs, and other minor frequent costs be validated. I think this one I had explained, and this is what I explained for the sake of those people who came late. I said the total expenses that you have that will have claimed for the business will be compared or will be cross-checked against whatever was transmitted to KRA using your business PIN. But there are exemptions which are already listed, salary and wages, and the rest will be excluded. But for others, KPLC costs, fuel costs, marketing costs, and other minor frequent costs, the total amount of expenses that will claim will be cross-checked with what has been transmitted. If what has been transmitted is lower, that is what will be allowed to claim. But for 2025, the KRA is here to support you. It will allow you to claim so long as you attach supporting document. But come when we are filing 2026, then KRA will be a bit stricter. But for now, the message that we are supposed to give out there is remember to ask for an eTIMS or TIMS receipt. Then somebody is asking, my personal PIN was erroneously registered as VAT at a cyber cafe when I applied for my PIN while still a student. Now I am unable to file my income tax pay. Please advise. For you who was a student, so long as you can demonstrate to KRA that you are a student by attaching your student ID, attaching your calling letter, then that VAT, the erroneous VAT obligation will be removed from you. So proceed. I think using the email that is provided, please give us your email, then we'll be able to check it for you. But you're supposed to log into iTax, then delete the VAT, attach the supporting document, which will be your student ID, letter of calling to confirm that you are a student by then, and the same will be removed from your pay as you earn. So please don't wait, because remember, the more you wait, the more the other you are non-compliant with your annual income tax obligation. Can expires be validated and expenses? I don't know what you mean by expires, but maybe I think we meant stock which has expired. So what we are saying, through your organization, you're supposed to do a memorandum to the commissioner telling them we have this expense called expired dragged. Can you allow us this category of expense to be not to be validated? So this is the program that we have. Remember, KRA is taking feedback from you on the challenges that you have. Do a memorandum using your association, provide it to KRA, and the issue will be addressed. On expenses load are not giving out, I think that one I've explained. You keep vacating and shifting. Don't vacate and shifting. We are doing capacity building to all the sectors. So soon, the landlords will get the message that they are supposed to give the invoice. So for you as a tenant, but for 2025, you will be assisted. You will be enabled to file even without, so long as you have a valid reason, a valid receipt from the landlord. But by the time the year will have ended, I will have built capacity to the landlords through training so that they will be in a position to provide you with a proper tax invoice. Thank you for the person who is commenting the culture change. That is good. Then there's a question: what does it mean for KRA to deactivate a personal PIN? How does it affect the taxpayer? Normally, a personal PIN is only deactivated where the person is diseased. That is for a personal PIN. But I don't know whether you're confusing it with the VAT obligation. But if it's for a PIN, which is a personal PIN, the only time it will be deactivated are two conditions. Whether for the first category is the person is diseased, then the second category is you have duplicate pins. You have two pins, so one will be stopped. But for any other, your pin should be active so long as you are alive. Lost stock. We know that for lost stock, it will now depend. How does one deal with lost stock? The question I'll ask: did you insure the stock? So if you had insured the stock, then you can claim it as an expense, but when you are paid, you declare the same as an income. Then is it practical to get it into the city from borders, matatus, local? Yes, for now, it looks impractical, but what we are doing is building capacity. We have engagements whereby we are engaging border people through trainings, and soon they will be able to catch. But for now, that is the message we are giving out to you. And also, it is now a way or a wake-up call that we, as we are in business, we should now organize ourselves, start thinking of the best way of operating our businesses. Remember, you are the one who will want to claim the same. For casual workers, don't worry about it. We have said salary and wages is exempted from eTIMS. So already we have given that provision. Salary and wages uh, have been excluded from eTIMS. Then for carpenters and plumbers, the truth is the carpenters and plumbers, if you tell them to give you an invoice, they will give you. Remember, KRA has simplified the process. You don't need to log into a computer. The carpenter or a plumber using their phone. My colleague talked about USSD star 222 star 5 hash, and they'll be able to generate a slip for you. Also, you are saying about whether we accept M-Pesa message as proof of payment for 2025. That will be lenient enough to accept that, but going forward, it will not be accepted. What will be accepted is an eTIMS invoice. What of a small chemist that is doing business manually on book or paper due to environmental limitation like dust area that do not allow electronics to run? Is it supposed to get eTIMS from Matatu? I think that one I've already talked about. Nature of job. In a hurry to rush you, can ask Makanga to give you eTIMS. Just give us time. We are building capacity to all the sectors of the economy. But the message we are bearing today is eTIMS, eTIMS, eTIMS. But with the time, everybody will have gotten the message. It is a gradual journey. Let us be patient with the other sectors, even the small sectors, but soon we will be there. Let us be positive about it. Let us not say it is not possible. With time, it will be possible. Remember, we are changing our culture. So let us be positive about this issue, because even the mama mbogas and the border sectors, we have incorporated them in our training. We are telling them what they are supposed to do. We have simplified the process. Remember, we are saying from a Katululu phone, that phone without internet, they are able to do what we are talking about. So the same process is simplified. It's all about the will to accept the change that has been brought about. So it will be a gradual change, but let us just be positive about it. Then I think this question, I'll take it to Caroline to answer it. Caroline, the question is, the business that were using different systems not compliant with the eTIMS are forced to integrate eTIMS. Please respond to that question. And they are saying the last they check, about 16 technology companies were licensed to offer. Please, you can answer that question from Mutuma Kamundi.
Okay, thank you so much, Albert. What I want to understand, he means we have very less integrators. That's what I'm trying to understand. However, Kamundi, we integrate our we keep testing our integrators every day, getting to add in, getting to bringing new and fresh system integrators. And no, there are very many right now. I wanted actually to confirm by now we have done how many on the website, but they are not only 16, there are more, there are more, there are more. There are many. What we can say is the reason we even brought in integrators is because of there are some systems that are complex. However, if maybe one is not able to integrate currently, what you can do is you can use now one of our solutions. Like I mentioned, this is the eClient solution. So it's able to capture stock, it's able to do all that. And so that by the time maybe you're getting to afford an integrator, you'll still have been compliant. So you don't have to go directly to the integrator process. You can just use the solutions that we have. So generally, we already have systems in place. That was just an addition. Like we are saying, we are making sure that every person is captured. We cannot take everyone to the integrator process. No, it's only that we are accommodating everyone. Depending on the type of invoices you are doing, the systems you are having, and the likes. So I hope that you're well answered. We have a number of them. You can still check them on the website. But for now, maybe you can work with the eClient platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. So somebody is talking about morbid fear of KRA. Remember, we said we are no longer that KRA that scares, we are a KRA that serves. So be assured that we have changed our culture and we are here to serve you, not to scare you. Then there's a concern about patient confidentiality. I would like to confirm that we normally do our issues in adherence with what we call data protection. So even if you do a pin check of somebody's pin, you will not be able to see the whole of the pin. But in case you have a concern, please do a memorandum through your association, spell out the areas that you feel need some protection, and KRA will take it into consideration and act accordingly. Then on consideration to integrate via plugins on WordPress for free and website. I think Caroline has taken that into taken that consideration, and we'll pass it over for consideration. Then there's another question. Somebody saying the employer paid more taxes than required. Then it means you as an employee, you have more credits in your ledger. So what you do, you are supposed to there are two scenarios of going about overpayment of tax. If you have other tax liability, you can generate an overpayment adjustment voucher and use that overpayment to offset against either current or future liability. In case you don't have any liability or prospect of getting any future liability, then you can request for what we call a refund, and the same will be refunded to you. How do we deal with expired drugs? Because it turns out to be expense on our side. Yes, you are supposed to claim it, but remember, I said at the moment there's not no that provision for expired drug as an expense which is validated. So I'll take it back to your association. Do you do a memorandum to KRA telling them we have this item called expired drugs? Please incorporate it as a list of exempted, and it will be considered. Uh, I think how do you deal when filing individual return for tax return? The guide says one should use P9. In 24 I had trouble retrieving one online from was down. How does one go about such situation to avoid defaulting? What we have said is this filing, the annual filing has been simplified. You don't need to worry. If you had a challenge in 2024, 2025, there are enhancements that have been put in place. So everything will come auto-populated. You will only need to confirm the correctness of what has been auto-populated. Once you have confirmed, you click on send and you'll have done your return for 2025. For those who are in employment, the income tax return for employment only has been enhanced, and it has been auto-populated to allow you to just do a small verification and you submit. I think I'm not seeing any other question. I'll give it back to Dr. Hezron to take it from there.
Right. Thank you so much, Albert. I see there are a couple of more questions that were brought to the chat. But I see already past the time by 18 minutes. I don't know if it's possible to just quickly scan through what's on the chat side. But meanwhile, I think we could probably just have a parting shot as you maybe cover what you think would be important to just respond to quickly.
Okay, so I think what we'll do,
Uh-huh.
we will look at the other questions, then maybe we'll respond later because of time.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
just do a parting shot, then I'll give it to my colleague also to talk, to say
Okay.
something. Then I'll also allow Irene. What I would like to say is we are here today to enable you comply. The assurance that we are giving you is we are here to support you. Whatever challenges that you are having as a taxpayer, feel free to reach out to KRA. We have provided all areas that you can communicate to us. We are more than willing to do further education on areas that we feel still need to be addressed. And our aim is to ensure that you, our esteemed taxpayer, report the right income, file your return in time, and pay your taxes. And that will be what will make us happy. So feel free to reach out, and we see you another time. So I'll welcome my two colleagues also to say the closing remark. Then the doctor can take it from.
Okay, thank you, Albert. For me, what I can say is I emphasize on remember to give out your PIN wherever you are incurring any expense. Give out your PIN so that it can be captured for you to claim this. Number two, also I can push in what my colleague has been talking about. Yes, we understand there are some people who are not compliant, and we understand we sit in a position to know that there are some people who do not give you these invoices. So like the transport sector, yes, we have such. Also, I think that some people who've been complaining, especially Kenya Power and Nairobi Water. For Nairobi Water, Kenya Power, please always tell them you need to claim these expenses. They will always capture your PIN. Don't just ignore the fact that you might not be heard, but yes, you need to give them. But for these other ones, the transport sector, the matatu and the likes, what you need to do right now as we continue, like my colleague has said, we are still doing sensitization. Pay in a way that you can keep evidence. So, for example, M-Pesa, you can use M-Pesa for payment, which you can show that this is a transport expense. So, use such methods that can keep records. My colleague talks of record keeping. So that we are able, like he said, now for last year, we are going to consider so much. We are going to accommodate a lot from our end. So, it's only that when comes next year, what do you have this year that for next year that will be affecting you? We'll have sensitized, we'll have all this. So for these records that have not been captured, make sure that you have proof of payment, just to be able to for us to consider you. So for the final is to welcome you to our offices when you're stuck. Just know our offices it's an open door policy. Apparently, yes, we've seen somebody saying that there's the challenge of KRA being feared. Please come and visit us. We are there to support you, and you'll see it's a total different game. Visit us for support. We are open. Send your emails to us. Let us support you in the best way possible. Do not fear to get to our offices. We are going to support you in every type of need that you have. So, karibuni sana to our offices. We thank you. So, have a good evening and a lovely night.
All right, thank you, Carol. I think we'll have Irene next.
My name is Irene Mumbi. I work in the Stakeholder Engagement Unit. And thank you, colleagues, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you, Albert. Thank you, Carol, for agreeing to do this engagement at this hour. And thank you, our stakeholders. Thank you for joining into the meeting. And probably if you have any question that went unanswered, we will be arranging another engagement. Dr. Hezron will communicate, because there is a section of your team that weren't able to join this engagement, and probably prior to the engagement, you can share the questions that you would want to be answered, or particular topic that you feel that you need more emphasis on, and we'll be able to arrange for that engagement. So we are very friendly. Thank you that you're seeing the culture change, and we are open to engaging more with you before filing of your returns, even in assisting in filing returns, as we have simplified the solutions. Right now, there is an auto-populated return on iTax when you check, and then we've simplified we've simplified you're using the eCitizen platform, and the *222 can assist you in retrieving your PIN. So most of these processes have been simplified so that you can access them at the comfort of your homes, and we are trying to make it as easy as ABC. So any input, any comments, we are happy to take it up and also help you in your filing of your returns. Thank you, and back to you, Daktari. Everyone, enjoy your evening.
All right, thank you so much, Irene. I think that was the last parting shot we had, and I'd like to really appreciate your team for this presentation. I think it was a wonderful sensitization. We still have so many questions that have not been answered, but I think we'll organize to send them over to you, and possibly also just having the other second webinar so that they can be addressed. So thank you, Albert, Carol, and Irene, and the larger KRA team. Also, from PSK side, I want to thank Rose Munga, our finance manager, who was also able to assist with organizing for this session. So just some few announcements before we close. Just to note that this webinar is not on the PPB portal yet. So you'll be notified once the event is listed so that you can subscribe. And remember, we have the 7 days timeline. So that means from today, once the event is listed, you'll have 7 days to subscribe and claim the tokens. If you don't do it within the 7 days, you'll not be able to subscribe to it. You'll get a notification that the event has already passed the timeline in which has been provided. So ensure you stay active and watch on that. Reminder that our conference is coming up, and the dates are 24th to 26th of June this year. And the venue is going to be Pride in Paradise, Mombasa. So ensure that you mark the calendar and prepare yourself in advance. The registration links will be sent out soon, the packages, and also the call for abstracts. So be on the lookout for that. And next week we have a webinar that's on pool procurement, a step towards pharmaceutical sovereignty in Africa. So this will be happening on Monday, which is not the usual time where we have our webinars. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be at 11 a.m. GMT, but in Kenyan time, it's going to be 2 p.m. So ensure that you look out for that so that you can subscribe. We also have the World Congress by International Pharmaceutical Federation, FIP, that's happening between 30th of August to 2nd of September. So for those who are planning to attend, just mark your dates so that you're able to attend. And that's the last announcement. Thank you so much all for joining and staying up to this end. And we look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Have a good evening.